Still waiting on that YouTube link. Squeakage. Why does it do that? Okay, we're back up on Facebook, looks like. Man. Okay. Still looking for that YouTube link. Ah, there we go. There it is. Let me snag it. Okay. I'm also going to put the YouTube link on the Facebook wall. And I'm going to go over here. I got to get some links here. Okay. We should be up and running again. Let me check my sound here. Okay, I can hear. We've got Facebook back up, YouTube back up, Meet Me back up. Is the network site also up? Hi, everybody. Okay. Now, I'm going to back up just a little bit in our study here because this is a cool study and you guys haven't been able to hear it. So we're going to we're going to back up again. All right. Let's start. Troy, I don't know what, some kind of weird video is up. Yeah. Like, you talk about the CUBN app? The Meet Me app. Okay. Okay. What's up with whatever's on the screen? Oh, that's what. Oh, okay. Roger that. Okay. All right, everybody. I'm supposed to tell you that we seem to not, when we have any issues with the broadcast, it doesn't seem to affect the Meet Me app. So it's a free app. It's called Meet Me, MEETME. And if you get that app, it's free. And those that are watching on there, they have a chat room that they can post in. Also, they don't have the kind of issues on the app that Facebook has and that YouTube has given us in the past and stuff like that. Now, I've put on my Facebook wall the links for the CUBN YouTube channel. You might want to subscribe to that so you can find it again. Because there's a lot of copycats out there that use the network's name. So, the YouTube channel that Troy uses is on my wall, Facebook wall, with the one with the hyphen, and also the YouTube link. And the Meet Me app is free if you want to get that app and watch it through there. I mean, in a way, I hate to expose you guys to that because there are, crazy people that do come in and say vile things at times, but it's not as bad now as it was when we first started. So, but you've got a chat room there too, where you can ask questions or you can, post comments or whatever. So I think we're good now to where we can continue with our study. We're going to back up to the first verse in Kings chapter 18, because I'm not sure when it started breaking up. And I wonder if I should go back to 17 even. All right. Let's go ahead and start at 1 Kings chapter 18, verse 1. I know we got much further than that. We were clear over to verse 29, but I know there was problems, so nobody could hear it. So we're starting at 1 Kings again, chapter 18, verse 1. If you didn't hear chapter 17, let me know in your chat rooms. I'm monitoring Facebook chat room. I'm also hey, Mustard Seed. I'm monitoring the network's YouTube channel chat room now too, and I haven't been doing that for quite some time. So I'm monitoring that chat room. I'm monitoring the Facebook chat room. I'm monitoring also the Meet Me chat room. And if you have questions or comments, please feel free to ask whatever you like. We're going to pick it up one more time at 1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 1. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah. This is a study of Elijah if you're just joining us. Elijah's my favorite prophet. I love Elijah. He's so cool. And so we're going to study Elijah on this Prophecy Friday. And, Troy can, I know we've only normally got a half hour left, but I don't know if Troy can take us longer or not because he has to work tomorrow. So if not, then, maybe I can make a video of this, but you wouldn't be able to have all the cool graphics and stuff like that. You'd just see the green screens behind me and all around me. So 1 Kings chapter 18. Oh, are you talking to me again, Troy? Huh? Oh, you will. You don't work tomorrow. Excellent. So okay. Troy says that we can keep going. We don't have to cut it off. We're going to keep going. Glory to God. All right. 1 Kings chapter 18 and verse 1. And it came to pass after many days that the word of the Lord came to Elijah in the 3rd year, saying, Go, show thyself unto Ahab, and I will send rain upon the earth. And Elijah went to show himself unto Ahab, and there was a sore famine in Samaria. And Ahab called Obadiah. That name sounds familiar, doesn't it? Which was the governor of his house. Now, Obadiah feared the Lord greatly, and there is a book of the Bible called Obadiah. First Kings 18:4. For it was so when Jezebel cut off the prophets of the Lord, that Obadiah took 100 prophets and hid them by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water. And Ahab said unto Obadiah, Go into the land unto all fountains of water, and unto all brooks. Peradventure we may find grass to save the horses and mules alive, that we lose not all the beasts. after 3 years of no rain, there is going to be a ridiculous level of famine. Okay. In verse 6 of 1 Kings 18, so they divided the land between them to pass throughout it. Ahab went one way by himself, and Obadiah went another way by himself. And as Obadiah was in the way, behold, Elijah met him, and he knew him, and fell on his face and said, Art thou that my Lord Elijah? So Obadiah is really impressed with Elijah. Who isn't? I mean, who isn't? In verse 8, and he answered him, I am. Go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And he said, what have I sinned that thou wouldest deliver thy servant into the hand of Ahab to slay me? Because Obadiah is scared to tell Ahab that Elijah is there because Ahab hates Elijah. As the Lord God, thy God liveth, there is no nation or kingdom whither my Lord hath not sent to seek thee. He has searched for Elijah for 3 years. And when they said he is not there, he took an oath of the kingdom and nation that they found thee not. So he made them all promise that they hadn't found Elijah. And he's been searching, all the king's horses and all the king's men been searching for Elijah. They're all everywhere. And now thou sayest, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here. And it shall come to pass, as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, Obadiah is saying, I'm going to go tell him you're here, and God's going to rapture you out, and he's going to, and I'm going to be in trouble. So he says, and it shall come to pass as soon as I am gone from thee, that the Spirit of the Lord shall carry thee whither I know not. And so when I come and tell Ahab, and he cannot find thee, he shall slay me. But I, thy servant, fear the Lord from my youth. Was it not told, my Lord, what I did when Jezebel slew the prophets of the Lord, how I hid 100 men of the Lord's prophets by 50 in a cave, and fed them with bread and water? And now thou sayest, go tell thy Lord, behold, Elijah is here, and he shall slay me. In verse 15, and Elijah said, as the Lord of hosts liveth, before whom I stand, I will surely show myself unto him today. So he's saying, I'm not going to take off. So Obadiah went to meet Ahab and told him, and Ahab went to meet Elijah. And it came to pass when Ahab saw Elijah, that Ahab said unto him, art thou he that troubleth Israel? And he answered, I have not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house. He said, I'm not troubling Israel, I'm troubling you. And he answered, I've not troubled Israel, but thou and thy father's house, in that ye have forsaken the commandments of the Lord, and thou hast followed Baalim. Now therefore send and gather to me all Israel under Mount Carmel, and the prophets of Baal 450, and the prophets of the groves 400, which eat at Jezebel's table. So Ahab sent into all the children of Israel, and gathered the prophets together unto Mount Carmel. And Elijah came unto all the people and said, how long halt ye between two opinions? It's like, make up your minds. If the Lord be God, follow him. But if Baal, then follow him. And the people answered him not a word. Then said Elijah unto the people, I, even I only, remain a prophet of the Lord. But Baal's prophets are 450 men. Let them therefore give us 2 bullocks, and let them choose 1 bullock for themselves, and cut it in pieces, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And I will dress the other bullock, and lay it on wood, and put no fire under. And call ye on the name of your gods, and I will call on the name of the Lord. And the God that answereth by fire, let him be God. And all the people answered and said, yeah, it is well spoken. And that which means, sounds good to me, kind of thing. In verse 25, and Elijah said unto the prophets of Baal, choose you 1 bullock for yourselves, and dress it first. For ye are many, and call on the name of your gods, but put no fire under. And they took the bullock which was given them, and they dressed it, and called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon. You can call on Baal from now on, and he's not going to answer. He's not real. He's just an idol made out of stone or wood or whatever they make him out. He has no power. Okay. So they called on the name of Baal from morning even until noon, saying, O Baal, hear us. It's like standing in front of a tree and saying, speak to me. Trees don't talk, okay? But they're begging it to talk. I mean, that's kind of the same kind of thing. But there was no voice, nor any that answered. Duh. And they leaped upon the altar which was made. And it came to pass at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, cry aloud, for he is a god. Either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or peradventure he sleepeth and must be awaked. He's teasing them. And they cried aloud and cut themselves after their manner with knives and lancets, till the blood gushed out upon them. And it came to pass, when midday was past, they prophesied until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, that there was neither voice, nor any to answer, nor any that regarded. And Elijah said unto all the people, come near unto me. And all the people came near unto him. And he repaired the altar of the Lord that was broken down. And Elijah took 12 stones, according to the number of the tribes of the sons of Jacob, unto whom the word of the Lord came, saying, Israel shall be thy name. And with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar. So he's digging a big trench all the way around the altar. And it was pretty deep. I mean, he dug this trench here. As great as would contain 2 measures of seed. Let me find out how much is 2 measures of seed. In 1 Kings. Okay. Now it says a seah contains about 3 gallons. But that's a seah, that's not a measure. Let me see if I can find out how deep was the trench Elijah dug. Okay, the trench around the altar was large enough to hold about 3 gallons, is what it says. But I think it was much more, because a barrel of water is more than 3 gallons. Okay. I'm not sure they even know. Let's just keep going. Okay. So, and in verse 32 of 1 Kings 18, and with the stones he built an altar in the name of the Lord. And he made a trench about the altar as great as would contain 2 measures of seed. And he put the wood in order and cut the bullock in pieces and laid him on the wood and said, fill 4 barrels with water. Not 4 cups, 4 barrels with water, and pour it on the burnt sacrifice and on the wood. And then he said, do it the second time. And they did it the second time. And he said, do it the third time. And they did it the third time. That's 12 barrels of water. Barrels of water that was poured on the sacrifice. And the water ran round about the altar, and he filled the trench also with water. And it came to pass at the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice that Elijah the prophet came near and said, Lord God of Abraham, Isaac, and of Israel, let it be known this day that thou art God in Israel, and that I am thy servant, and that I have done all these things at thy word. Hear me, O Lord, hear me, that this people may know that thou art the Lord God, and that thou hast turned their heart back again. Then the fire of the Lord fell and consumed the burnt sacrifice, and the wood, and the stones, and the dust, even the dust, and licked up the water that was in the trench. All the water was gone when the fire of the Lord fell. It says it consumed not only the burnt sacrifice and the wood, but it also consumed the stones and the dust, and licked up all the water that was in the trench. After pouring 12 barrels on this thing, fire comes out of the sky, consumes the offering and the wood and even the stones and the dust. Consumed it all. And along with the water that had been poured all, it had been totally soaked down. So Elijah was trying to show them there's no trick to this when fire falls from heaven, because that's why he put the 12 barrels of water. In verse 39 of 1 Kings chapter 18, and when all the people saw it, they fell on their faces. That's cool, isn't it? When all the people saw it, they fell on their faces and they said, the Lord, he is the God. The Lord, He is the God. In verse 40 of 1 Kings chapter 18, and Elijah said unto them, take the prophets of Baal, let not one of them escape. And they took them, there's 450 of them, remember? And they took them, and Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon and slew them there. All those 450 prophets of Baal were slain that very day. And Elijah said unto Ahab, get thee up, eat and drink, for there is a sound of abundance of rain. So Ahab went up to eat and to drink. And Elijah went to the top of Carmel, and he cast himself down upon the earth and put his face between his knees, and said to his servant, go up now, look toward the sea. He's praying, right? He says to his servant, go up now and look toward the sea. And he went up and looked and said, there's nothing. And he said, go again 7 times. So, because Elijah's praying for the Lord to send the rain. And he said, go again 7 times. And it came to pass at the 7th time that he said, behold, there ariseth a little cloud out of the sea, like a man's hand. And he said, go up, say unto Ahab, prepare thy chariot and get thee down, that the rain stop thee not. And it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah. And he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. Chapter 19 of the book of 1 Kings. Man, it's cold in here. I'm freezing. Wonder why. Thought I turned the heat up, but I shut that door. That's why. Reekage. Chapter 19 and verse 1. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a messenger unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me. Now notice, notice this. Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done. Hello? Hey, honey, what's going on? Yeah, well, I'm doing my show at the moment, and we got started late, so it's going to be a while. But I can hang out with you at the top and bottom of the hour if you want to come. Yeah, I'm on there. And I'm not going to finish up at 9 because we had some technical issues, and we're going to go longer than that. So. Well, Fubish, I love you. I'm sorry to miss you. Talk to you later. Okay. Love you guys. Bye. Sorry. Okay. Let me get back over here on Facebook. I want to see if you guys have any questions thus far. Oh. Wait a minute. Are we down again? Seriously? No, I guess we're back up too, but it went down. I guess we're back up. Hi, Penny. And nice to see you. Guys, I am so sorry. Please let me know if we're still having technical issues on Facebook. I have put the YouTube link on my wall as well. And also, what's going on with the Meet Me app here? Okay. All right. Hi, guys on Meet Me. Hello. Hi, Cyber Ninja. Nice to see you. Oh, thank you. That's very kind. Two, I'll just call you two. It says burnt sacrifices are an abomination. Well, only if you give them to anybody but God. If you burn, he has ordained sacrifices like this before. And if it was an abomination back then, God wouldn't have had him do it. Okay. But let's keep going here. Everybody doing okay? Hi, Crystal. Good to see you, sis. I'm glad you found your way back, Karen. I hope, please let me know in these chat rooms, guys, if there's a problem, and we'll get it fixed. I don't want you to miss the study. Okay. Where did I leave off? Okay, we did that one. Oh, right here where in verse 45, it came to pass in the meanwhile that the heaven was black with clouds. This would be 1 Kings 18:45. The heaven was black with clouds and wind, and there was a great rain. And Ahab rode and went to Jezreel. And the hand of the Lord was on Elijah, and he girded up his loins and ran before Ahab to the entrance of Jezreel. Okay. Chapter 19, 1 Kings. And Ahab told Jezebel all that Elijah had done, and withal how he had slain all the prophets with the sword. Then Jezebel sent a message unto Elijah, saying, so let the gods do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. So she's saying, let the gods, her gods, do to me, and more, if I make not thy life as the life of one of them dead, is what she's saying, by tomorrow about this time. And when he saw that, he arose and went for his life. He's running away, and came to Beersheba, which belongeth to Judah, and left his servant there. But he himself went a day's journey into the wilderness, and came and sat down under a juniper tree. And he requested for himself that he might die, and said, it is enough now, O Lord. Take away my life, for I am not better than my fathers. And he lay and slept under a juniper tree. Behold, then an angel touched him, and said unto him, arise and eat. And he looked, and behold, there was a cake baken on the coals, and a cruse of water at his head. And he did eat and drink, and laid him down again. Sorry, I've got like a catch in my throat or something here. In verse 7 of 1 Kings chapter 19. And the angel of the Lord came again the second time and touched him and said, Arise and eat, because the journey is too great for thee. And he arose and did eat and drink, and went in the strength of that meat 40 days and 40 nights unto Horeb, the mount of God. So Elijah didn't eat for 40 days and 40 nights after that. Okay. In verse 9, and he came thither unto a cave and lodged there. And behold, the word of the Lord came to him. And he said unto him, What doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very zealous for the Lord God of hosts. For the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. Reekage, I can't get rid of this catch in my throat. Okay. In verse 11, and he said, Go forth and stand upon the mount before the Lord. And behold, the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind rent the mountains and brake in pieces the rock before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire. But the Lord was not in the fire. And after the fire, a still small voice. And it was so when Elijah heard it, that he wrapped his face in his mantle and went out and stood in the entering in of the cave. And behold, there came a voice unto him and said, What doest thou here, Elijah? And he said, I have been very jealous for the Lord God of hosts, because the children of Israel have forsaken thy covenant, thrown down thine altars, and slain thy prophets with the sword. And I, even I only, am left, and they seek my life to take it away. And the Lord said unto him, Go, return on thy way to the wilderness of Damascus. And when thou comest, anoint Hazael to be king over Syria. And Jehu the son of Nimshi shalt thou anoint to be king over Israel. And Elisha the son of Shaphat of Abel Meholah shalt thou anoint to be prophet in thy room, so instead of him. And it shall come to pass that him that escapeth the sword of Hazael shall Jehu slay, and him that escapeth from the sword of Jehu shall Elisha slay. Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal, and every mouth which hath not kissed him. God always has a whole bunch on his side. And it doesn't look like it from our perspective, but it is like that. Troy, I'm going to need a break. I'm going to put some Chloraseptic on my throat. The break comes in like a minute, but we will come back after that again and keep going. I'm still going to have the breaks, but we will come back after it. It won't be the end of the show. We'll keep going, as long as Troy permits us here. So In verse 18 of 1 Kings 19, it says, "Yet I have left me 7,000 in Israel, all the knees which have not bowed unto Baal." And you know what? It's kind of like they were all, most of them were children of God, believers, and they were in hiding. When there's a wicked government like Ahab and Jezebel, or Joe and Jill Biden, the believers they hide. These did. Thousands of them in plain sight, hiding, just not, they only talked about God behind closed doors and not out in the open. Because when you have a wicked government that'll slay you for your faith, you have to hide it to stay alive. In verse 19, "So he departed thence and found Elisha the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen before him, and he with the 12th. And Elijah passed by him and cast his mantle upon him." That means he took his cloak off and put it on Elisha. In verse 20 of 1 Kings chapter 19, "And he left the oxen and ran after Elijah and said, Let me, I pray thee, kiss my father and my mother, and then I will follow thee. And he said unto him, Go back again, for what have I done to thee? And he returned back from him and took a yoke of oxen and slew them and boiled their flesh with the instruments of the oxen and gave unto the people, and they did eat. Then he arose and went after Elijah and ministered unto him." Chapter 20. "And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria," and I'm going to need that break, Troy, for 5 minutes, if you can hear me. I'll still need to do breaks every half hour. "And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, gathered all his hosts together, and there were 32 kings with him, and horses and chariots. And he went up and besieged Samaria and warred against it. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine." Wow. Okay, so Ben-Hadad is king of Syria, right? He gathers all his hosts together, and he is got these horses and chariots, and he went up and besieged Samaria. That's north of Jerusalem. And he sent messengers to Ahab, king of Israel, into the city, and said unto him, Thus saith Ben-Hadad, Thy silver and thy gold is mine, thy wives also and thy children, even the goodliest are mine. And the king of Israel answered and said, My lord, O king, according to thy saying, I am thine and all that I have. And the messengers came again and said, Thus speaketh Ben-Hadad, saying, Although I have sent unto thee, saying, Thou shalt deliver me thy silver and thy gold, and thy wives and thy children, yet I will send my servants unto thee tomorrow about this time, and they shall search thine house and the houses of thy servants, and it shall be that whatsoever is pleasant in thy eyes, they shall put it in their hand and take it away. They're just going to come and spoil their houses. Then the king of Israel called all the elders of the land and said, Mark, I pray you, and see how this man seeketh mischief. For he sent unto me for my wives and for my children and for my silver and for my gold, and I denied him not. What's he doing? Giving his children and his wives to an enemy. I mean, I get it if he wants to give silver and gold, but his wives and children? What's he thinking? And all the elders and all the people said unto him, hearken not unto him, nor consent. Wherefore he said unto the messengers of Benhadad, tell my lord the king that thou didst send for to thy servant at the first I will do, but this thing I may not do. And the messengers departed and brought him word again. And Benhadad sent unto him and said, the gods do so unto me, and more also, if the dust of Samaria shall suffice for handfuls for all the people that follow me. And the king of Israel answered and said, tell him, let not him that girdeth on his harness boast himself as he that putteth it off. And it came to pass when Benhadad heard this message, as he was drinking, he and the kings in the pavilions, that he said unto his servants, set yourselves in array. And they set themselves in array against the city. And behold, there came a prophet unto Ahab, king of Israel, saying, thus saith the Lord, hast thou seen all this great multitude? Behold, I will deliver it into thine hand this day, and thou shalt know that I am the Lord. And Ahab said, by whom? And he said, thus saith the Lord, even by the young men of the princes of the provinces. Then he said, who shall order the battle? And he answered, thou. Then he numbered the young men of the princes of the provinces, and they were 232. After them he numbered all the people, even all the children of Israel, being 7,000. In verse 16 of 1 Kings chapter 20. And they went out at noon, but Ben-Hadad was drinking himself drunk in the pavilions, he and the kings, the 32 kings that helped him. And the young men of the princes of the provinces went out first. And Ben-Hadad went out, and they told him, saying, there are men come out of Samaria. And he said, whether they come out for peace, take them alive. Or whether they come out for war, take them alive. So these young men of the princes of the provinces came out of the city, and the army which followed them. And they slew every one his man, and the Syrians fled, and Israel pursued them. And Ben-Hadad, the king of Syria, escaped on a horse with the horsemen. Okay, I'm going to have to take a break, guys, just a very short one for a couple of minutes, and get something else to drink. And I don't know if Troy's prepared to take us to a break or not, but if not, then I'll be back in just, 3 or 4 minutes. I'm just going to refill my cup and give my voice a rest for a second, and I'll be right back. Okay, guys, sorry. I was freezing. I had to put some more layers of clothes on and turn the heater on. Okay, that's what that noise is I had to turn the heater on. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's get back into it. Now, we're in Kings, 1 Kings chapter 20, and we're in verse 21. Ooh. And the king of Israel went out and smote the horses and chariots, and slew the Syrians with a great slaughter. And the prophet came to the king of Israel and said unto him, Go strengthen thyself, and mark, and see what thou doest. For at the return of the year, the king of Syria will come up against thee. And the servants of the king, is that where I left off? Okay. And the servants of the king of Syria said unto him, Their gods are gods of the hills. Therefore they were stronger than we. But let us fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And do this thing, take the kings away, every man out of his place, and put captains in their rooms. Put captains in their places. Because they don't want the kings to get killed. They want to put decoys in there. And number thee an army, like the army that thou hast lost, horse for horse, and chariot for chariot. And we will fight against them in the plain. Sorry, I'm going to put my feet up here. Feet are cold too. Okay. And we will fight against them in the plain, and surely we shall be stronger than they. And he hearkened unto their voice and did so. And it came to pass at the return of the year that Ben-Hadad numbered the Syrians and went up to Aphek to fight against Israel. And the children of Israel were numbered and were all present, and went against them. And the children of Israel pitched before them like two little flocks of kids, but the Syrians filled the country. And there came a man of God and spake unto the king of Israel and said, Thus saith the Lord, because the Syrians have said, The Lord is God of the hills, but he is not God of the valleys. Therefore will I deliver all this great multitude into thy hand, and ye shall know that I am the Lord. And they pitched one over against the other 7 days. So it was that in the 7th day the battle was joined, and the children of Israel slew of the Syrians 100,000 footmen in 1 day. But the rest fled to Aphek into the city, and there a wall fell upon 27,000 men of the men that were left. A wall fell on 27,000 men. That's amazing, isn't it? And there a wall fell upon 27,000 of the men that were left. And Ben-Hadad fled and came into the city into an inner chamber. And his servants said unto him, Behold, now we have heard that the kings of the house of Israel are merciful kings. Let us, I pray thee, put sackcloth on our loins and ropes upon our heads, and go out to the king of Israel. Peradventure he will save thy life. So they girded sackcloth on their loins and put ropes on their heads, and came to the king of Israel and said, Thy servant Ben-Hadad saith, Thy servant Ben-Hadad, I pray thee, let me live. And he said, Is he yet alive? He is my brother. Now the men did diligently observe whether anything would come from him, and did hastily catch it. And they said, Thy brother Ben-Hadad. Then he said, Go ye, bring him. Then Ben-Hadad came forth to him, and he caused him to come up into the chariot. And Ben-Hadad said unto him, The cities which my father took from thy father, I will restore. And thou shalt make streets for thee and in Damascus, as my father made in Samaria. Then said Ahab, I will send thee away with this covenant. So he made a covenant with him and sent him away. And a certain man of the sons of the prophets said unto his neighbor in the word of the Lord, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man refused to smite him. Then said he unto him, Because thou hast not obeyed the voice of the Lord, behold, as soon as thou art departed from me, a lion shall slay thee. And as soon as he was departed from him, a lion found him and slew him. Wow. And he found another man and said, Smite me, I pray thee. And the man smote him, so that in smiting he wounded him. So the prophet departed and waited for the king by the way, and disguised himself with ashes upon his face. And as the king passed by, he cried unto the king, and he said, Thy servant went out into the midst of the battle. And behold, a man turned aside and brought a man unto me, and said, Keep this man. If by any means he be missing, then shall thy life be for his life. Or else thou shalt pay a talent of silver. And as thy servant was busy here and there, he was gone. And the king of Israel said unto him, So shall thy judgment be. Thyself hast decided it. And he hasted and took the ashes away from his face. And the king of Israel discerned him that he was one of the prophets. And he said unto him, Thus saith the Lord, because thou hast let go out of thy hand a man whom I appointed to utter destruction, therefore thy life shall go for his life, and thy people for his people. And the king of Israel went to his house heavy and displeased, and came to Samaria. Chapter 21. And it came to pass after these things that Naboth the Jezreelite had a vineyard, which was in Jezreel, hard by the palace of Ahab the king of Samaria. Oh, before I get heavy into this other chapter, I want to see if there's any questions anywhere. Hello, Rahel. Nice to see you on YouTube. Hey, Mustard Seed. Cool to see you. Mustard Seed says, so Lisa, you said angels are not gentle when they fight demons. Does that mean the fruits of the Holy Spirit in Galatians does not apply to an angel? No, it doesn't apply to an angel. Angels are messengers from God. They're not, an angel, unless it's an angel of the Lord, angels don't bear the fruits of the Spirit. You have to have the Lord in you to bear the fruits of the Spirit. Okay? Let's see. How are you guys doing here on the Meet Me app? Looks like, hi, Cyber Ninja. Oh, that's sweet. I'm okay. I'm doing all right. Nice for you to ask. You sent me a message. I'll see if I can look at it at some point. Let's see on Facebook. Okay, everybody doing all right over here on Facebook? Okay. Yeah, we had some technical problems earlier, Penny. I mean, terrible technical issues, okay? That just really messed with the broadcast. Okay. And we are in 1 Kings chapter 21, and we're going into verse 2. And Ahab spake unto Naboth, saying, Give me thy vineyard, that I may have it for a garden of herbs, because it is near unto my house. And I will give it thee for a better vineyard than it. Or if it seem good to thee, I will give thee the worth of it in money. So Naboth's vineyard is adjacent. It's right there next to the palace, right? It probably had a palace wall that it connected to. And Ahab, the king of Israel, he wants that vineyard. He wants it bad. He wants to expand his territory there to include that vineyard. In verse 3, and Naboth said to Ahab, The Lord forbid it me that I should give the inheritance of my fathers unto thee. So Naboth is like, dream on, okay? In verse 4, and Ahab came into his house heavy and displeased because of the word which Naboth the Jezreelite had spoken to him. For he had said, I will not give thee the inheritance of my fathers. And he laid him down upon his bed and turned away his face and would eat no bread. He's throwing a fit like a toddler. But Jezebel, his wife, came to him and said unto him, Why is thy spirit so sad that thou eatest no bread? And he said unto her, Because I spake unto Naboth the Jezreelite, and said unto him, Give me thy vineyard for money, or else, if it please thee, I will give thee another vineyard for it. And he answered, I will not give thee my vineyard. And Jezebel his wife said unto him, Dost thou now govern the kingdom of Israel? Arise and eat bread, and let thine heart be merry. I will give thee the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite. So she wrote letters in Ahab's name, and sealed them with his seal, and sent the letters unto the elders and to the nobles that were in his city, dwelling with Naboth. And she wrote in the letters, saying, Proclaim a fast, and set Naboth on high among the people. And set 2 men, sons of Belial, before him, to bear witness against him, saying, Thou didst blaspheme God and the king. And then carry him out and stone him that he may die. Oh, she's a wicked, isn't she? And the men of his city, even the elders and the nobles, who were the inhabitants in his city, did as Jezebel had sent unto them, and as it was written in the letters which she had sent unto them. They proclaimed a fast and set Naboth on high among the people. And there came in two men, children of Belial, children of evil, and sat before him. And the men of Belial witnessed against him, even against Naboth, in the presence of the people, saying, Naboth did blaspheme God and the king. And they carried him forth out of the city and stoned him with stones, that he died. Then they sent to Jezebel, saying, Naboth is stoned and is dead. And it came to pass, when Jezebel heard that Naboth was stoned and was dead, that Jezebel said to Ahab, Arise, take possession of the vineyard of Naboth the Jezreelite, which he refused to give thee for money. for Naboth is not alive but dead. And it came to pass when Ahab heard that Naboth was dead, that Ahab rose up to go down to the vineyard of Naboth, the Jezreelite, to take possession of it. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Arise, go down to meet Ahab, king of Israel, which is in Samaria. Behold, he is in the vineyard of Naboth, whither he is gone down to possess it. And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, Hast thou killed and also taken possession? And thou shalt speak unto him, saying, Thus saith the Lord, In the place where dogs lick the blood of Naboth, shall dogs lick thy blood, even thine. And Ahab said to Elijah, Hast thou found me, O mine enemy? And he answered, I have found thee, because thou hast sold thyself to work evil in the sight of the Lord. Behold, I will bring evil upon thee, and will take away thy posterity, and will cut off from Ahab him that pisseth against the wall, and him that is shut up and left in Israel. It's an odd term, isn't it? And I will make thine house like the house of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, and like the house of Baasha the son of Ahijah, for the provocation wherewith thou hast provoked me to anger, and made Israel to sin. And of Jezebel also spake the Lord, saying, The dogs shall eat Jezebel by the wall of Jezreel. Him that dieth of Ahab in the city the dogs shall eat, and him that dieth in the field shall the fowls of the air eat. But there was none like unto Ahab, which did sell himself to work wickedness in the sight of the Lord, whom Jezebel his wife stirred up. And he did very abominably in following idols, according to all things as did the Amorites, whom the Lord cast out before the children of Israel. And it came to pass when Ahab heard these words, that he rent his clothes, and put sackcloth upon his flesh, and fasted, and lay in sackcloth, and went softly. And the word of the Lord came to Elijah the Tishbite, saying, Seest thou how Ahab humbleth himself before me? Because he humbleth himself before me, I will not bring thee evil in his days, but in his son's days will I bring the evil upon his house. Whoa. Carnage. Okay, we're at the bottom of the hour again. I'm going to take 5 minutes one more time, and then we'll come back and go for another segment, okay? Give me about 3 or 4 minutes. Okay, welcome back. Let's go ahead and get back into it. Chapter 22 of 1 Kings. And they continued 3 years. Well, before I do that, let me see if there's any questions. Okay, we should be doing pretty good now. I don't see any questions on Facebook. We're good on YouTube. Let's check out. Hey, Cyber Ninja. Glory to God. Okay, let's see. What was that? Okay, here we go. Let's get back into it. I don't see any questions or anything anywhere. Let's go. 1 Kings chapter 22. And they continued 3 years without war between Syria and Israel. And that's probably the only 3 years they haven't been at war ever since. Because there's always... they're always firing into Syria. Always, Syria and Israel are notorious for fighting with each other. In verse 2, and it came to pass in the 3rd year that Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, came down to the king of Israel. And the king of Israel said unto his servants, Know ye that Ramoth in Gilead is ours, and we be still, and take it not out of the hand of the king of Syria. And he said unto Jehoshaphat, Wilt thou go with me to battle to Ramoth Gilead? And Jehoshaphat said to the king of Israel, I am as thou art, my people as thy people, my horses as thy horses. And Jehoshaphat said unto the king of Israel, Inquire, I pray thee, at the word of the Lord today. Then the king of Israel gathered the prophets together, about 400 men, and said unto them, Shall I go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall I forbear? And they said, Go up, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And Jehoshaphat said, Is there not here a prophet of the Lord besides, that we might inquire of him? So these are prophets, but they're not prophets of the Lord. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, There is yet one man, Micaiah, the son of Imlah, by whom we may inquire of the Lord. And that would be Micah. Okay. He's a minor prophet, Micah. But I hate him, for he doth prophesy good concerning me, but he doth not prophesy good concerning me, but evil. And Jehoshaphat said, Let not the king say so. Then the king of Israel called an officer and said, Hasten hither Micaiah the son of Imlah, Micah. And the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat the king of Judah each sat on his throne, having put on their robes in a void place in the entrance of the gates of Samaria. And all the prophets prophesied before them. And Zedekiah, son of Chenaanah, made him horns of iron. And he said, Thus saith the Lord, with these shalt thou push the Syrians until thou have consumed them. And all the prophets prophesied so, saying, Go up to Ramoth Gilead, and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it unto the king's hand. And the messenger that was gone to call Micaiah spoke unto him, saying, Behold now, the words of the prophets declare good unto the king, with one mouth. Let thy word, I pray thee, be like the word of one of them, and speak that which is good. And Micaiah said, As the Lord liveth, what the Lord saith unto me, that will I speak. So he came to the king, and the king said unto him, Micaiah, shall we go against Ramoth Gilead to battle, or shall we forbear? And he answered him, Go and prosper, for the Lord shall deliver it into the hand of the king. And the king said unto him, How many times shall I adjure thee that thou tell me nothing but that which is true in the name of the Lord? And he said, I saw all Israel scattered upon the hills, as sheep that have not a shepherd. And the Lord said, These have no master. Let them return every man to his house in peace. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, Did I not tell thee that he would prophesy no good concerning me, but evil? And he said, Hear thou therefore the word of the Lord. I saw the Lord sitting on his throne, and all the host of heaven standing by him on his right hand and on his left. And the Lord said, Who shall persuade Ahab that he may go up and fall at Ramoth Gilead? Ahab's being set up. And one said on this manner, and another said on that manner. And there came forth a spirit and stood before the Lord and said, I will persuade him. And the Lord said unto him, Wherewith? And he said, I will go forth, and I will be a lying spirit in the mouth of all his prophets. And he said, Thou shalt persuade him, and prevail also. Go forth and do so. Now therefore, behold, the Lord hath put a lying spirit in the mouth of all these thy prophets, and the Lord hath spoken evil concerning thee. But Zedekiah the son of Chenaanah went near and smote Micaiah on the cheek, and said, Which way went the Spirit of the Lord from me to speak unto thee? And Micaiah said, Behold, thou shalt see in that day, when thou shalt go into an inner chamber to hide thyself. And the king of Israel said, Take Micaiah and carry him back unto Amon, the governor of the city, and to Joash, the king's son, and say, Thus saith the king, Put this fellow in the prison, excuse me, and feed him with bread of affliction and with water of affliction until I come in peace. And Micaiah said, If thou return at all in peace, the Lord hath not spoken by me. And he said, Hearken, O people, every one of you. So the king of Israel and Jehoshaphat, the king of Judah, went up to Ramoth Gilead. And the king of Israel said unto Jehoshaphat, I will disguise myself and enter into the battle. But put thou on thy robes. And the king of Israel disguised himself and went into the battle. But the king of Syria commanded his 32 captains that had rule over his chariots, saying, Fight neither with small nor great, save only with the king of Israel. Fight only with the king. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots saw Jehoshaphat, that they said, Surely it is the king of Israel. And they turned aside to fight against him. And Jehoshaphat cried out. And it came to pass, when the captains of the chariots perceived that it was not the king of Israel, that they turned back from pursuing him. And a certain man drew a bow at a venture and smote the king of Israel between the joints of the harness. Wherefore he said unto the driver of his chariot, Turn thine hand and carry me out of the host, for I am wounded. And the battle increased that day, and the king was stayed up in his chariot against the Syrians, and died at even. That means sundown at eventime. And the blood ran out of the wound into the midst of the chariot. And there went a proclamation throughout the host about the going down of the sun, saying, every man to his city, and every man to his own country. So the king died and was brought to Samaria, and they buried the king in Samaria. And one washed the chariot in the pool of Samaria, and the dogs licked up his blood. And they washed his armor according unto the word of the Lord which he spake. Now the rest of the acts of Ahab, and all that he did, and the ivory house which he made, and all the cities that he built, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel? So Ahab slept with his fathers. He died. And Ahaziah his son reigned in his stead. And Jehoshaphat the son of Asa began to reign over Judah in the 4th year of Ahab king of Israel. Jehoshaphat was 35 years old when he began to reign. And he reigned 25 years in Jerusalem. And his mother's name was Azubah, the daughter of Shilhi. And he walked in all the ways of Asa his father. He turned not aside from it, doing that which was right in the eyes of the Lord. Nevertheless, the high places, which were not taken away, for the people offered and burnt incense yet in the high places. And Jehoshaphat made peace with the king of Israel. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoshaphat and his might that he showed, and how he warred, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the Kings of Judah? And the remnant of the Sodomites, which remained in the days of his father Asa, he took out of the land. There was then no king in Edom. A deputy was king. Jehoshaphat made ships of Tarshish to go to Ophir for gold, but they went not, for the ships were broken at Ezion-Geber. Then said Ahaziah the son of Ahab unto Jehoshaphat, let my servants go with thy servants in the ships. But Jehoshaphat would not. And Jehoshaphat slept with his fathers and was buried with his fathers in the city of David his father. And Jehoram his son reigned in his stead. Ahaziah the son of Ahab began to reign over Israel in Samaria the 17th year of Jehoshaphat king of Judah, and reigned 2 years over Israel. And he did evil in the sight of the Lord, and walked in the way of his father, and in the way of his mother, and in the way of Jeroboam the son of Nebar, who made Israel to sin. For he served Baal, and worshipped him, and provoked to anger the Lord God of Israel, according to all that his father had done. Wow. That's the end of 1 Kings. Anybody got any questions or anything? I don't see any. Don't see any on YouTube. Let's see what's going on with Facebook. Look, we're looking good there. Okay. We got to the end of the book of 1 Kings, and so we're going to go ahead and cut it off there. I love you guys. God bless you. Thanks for staying with me tonight. Hope to see you again on Monday, 7 p.m. Central, right here on CUBN. Shabbat Shalom. Happy and peaceful Sabbath, and have a wonderful weekend. And we hope to see you on Monday. And in the meantime, do right and risk the consequences. I love you guys.